Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Triggered. I'm your host, Zachary Clark, and you all know my co-host, Adam Furman, and special guest tonight, sitting here to my left, Jason Clark himself, of the same bloodline as yours truly. Oh my gosh. Hey, it looks like the stream is going live.
I don't think that was the right episode.
Oh, are you sure? It's 31. The Mind Prison. Which reminds me, we're coming to you live from the 1,000-year Mind Prison.
Yeah, it's on.
Whose mind?
Well, whatever kind of depraved mind that would envision something like this.
Oh, no.
Then, Adam, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good.
Have you worked out all your technical issues?
I have, yes.
Excellent, excellent. It looks like my emoji selection is still up on the Skype thing. I don't want to turn that off.
What emoji?
I don't want any of those.
I don't see any emojis.
No. If you can't see anything, don't worry about it.
Well, if you clicked on one, he could.
Well, that's true. Probably so. All right. Well, without further delay, further introduction, Jason Clark here is a master plumber from the state of Texas.
All of that's true.
Residing in the Round Rock area when not trapped in this mind prison with us. And he's traveling to Texas, from Texas to Illinois to visit a good friend of his on his birthday.
Well, and family.
And family. Goes to show you can take the Illinois boy out of Illinois, but you can't take the Illinois out of the Illinois boy.
How unfortunate.
All right, well, not very much in this life does. But I guess, as usual, we could get things started with something new I saw on the scanner. Scanner radio. We had a couple. I noticed a theme with a few of the posts, so let's see if you can figure it out. I won't say what they are at first.
Ooh.
And then we'll see if you can pick it up.
Oh.
500 block of locust, female armed with a knife, QPD en route. Dun 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 dun. Let's just move right along to the next one. I just thought this was an interesting report of a knife wielding lady. 500 block of Locust Street. Next. 2859 James Road, Hannibal, Missouri. Male armed with a knife. 2 victims on scene. Missouri State Highway Patrol en route. Suspect left in an orange SUV. Another knife-wielding man. I wonder what the connection could be between these two stories. Adam, can you figure it out?
The knife?
Yes!
It's the same knife?
There were 2 knife-wielding assailants in the scanner this week.
I win.
I don't know. Apparently, they didn't have access to bats or shovels or pipes to carry on fight season in a more civilized fashion. They had to go and wield an innately deadly slashing weapon in a knife. How uncivilized. Oh, and these next 2 stories may also be related. I'm not entirely sure.
No.
From the inbox. Who is the dude with the women's clothes on, standing with a sign on 24th, yelling at people? 47 minutes ago. I believe this sign says, America drones school children. Do they? I don't know. Maybe this guy has the insight.
What is blessing employee?
Oh, that's the employer clinic. Right next to Culver's on Broadway.
It's over on like 24th and Broadway, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ooh, and
So that's where the crazies go out to put their signs up.
Probably. Wait, I think we're... Never mind, hold on. We'll get into that. Alright, here's the next one. Let's see again if you can find the connection. From the inbox, 2:50 p.m. Half-naked sign dude is at the junior high yelling at the kids, calling them pedophiles. Happy Thursday.
Is that the same sign?
Wait, this one says, America's sins do not go unnoticed. Adam, do you see the connection between these two?
It's a dude with a sign.
Yes, it's the same guy. Good job. That's 2 for 2. The sign is actually, this is the back side, and the drones one is the front side, or vice versa.
I think it makes sense. You can't drone someone.
Yeah, drone strike. I think that's what he's talking
Drone
about.
strike.
America drone strike kids.
You don't
School
drone
children.
strike our own kids.
School
we drone
children.
strike Syrian kids.
No, that guy was an American.
Oh, that's right.
Oh. Why hasn't this man been removed from the streets? I don't know. We won't get into the comments today. He clearly needs help, guys. Give him a break. He's just a troubled man. Yelling at school children who he believes the government is droning and calling them pedophiles.
Maybe they are.
It very well could be.
He could be right. I mean,
Most of the people I knew in high school were actually sex predators, according to the law. So that probably isn't too far from the truth.
there you go.
If
It's not
this is
defamation,
key,
Your Honor.
it is illegal for people under the age of 17 to engage in sexual acts together. And you're committing sex crimes against each other if it happens. So any friends of yours you knew that were 16 and had a girlfriend or whatever, like making out in their basements or what have you, were committing criminal sexual abuse of a minor.
Yes, Zachary. We know we've been through #MeToo. If you're under 18, you cannot consent. Period.
Yeah, well, it's not just that, but
Well, in Oklahoma, it's 16.
you're violating each other's, protections from under the criminal law.
Consciousness.
I don't know how this works. I just know that when I read that, and I was shocked to discover it, and I said, oh my gosh, most of everyone I know has committed a sex crime in their life because of this. It was very strange. Not like you, though, or me, or Jason here. We would never do anything like that. We were perfect.
I definitely was
church-going
perfect.
Gentlemen. We never did anything wrong. Well,
No,
girls gross. They have cooties. That's what I remember.
No, I was not that. It was my dad instilled the fear of God as far as being reported as such when I was probably too young to understand that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Under the law, you don't even have to do anything untoward. If you just engage in what they eloquently termed heavy petting in my sexual education classes.
Oh my gosh! No,
that would be sufficient to get you on a list.
I was called out in 7th grade for just being in the presence of when one of my classmates, who was a boy, was rummaging through my other classmate's purse. And because I didn't actively look out and see that, I was also culpable under rummaging through her purse. I was like, that's not right, Mr. Link.
No, that's not the way the law works, Mr. Link. You can't be responsible for not intervening. That's key. Unless you were in some way a co-conspirator at some point.
No.
Then you have to take a substantial step to prevent the thing from happening.
Absolutely not. I was not part of that.
I don't know. It sounds like you might have been co-conspiring. Did you aid in the advancement of the purse rummaging?
No.
Act as a lookout at any point in time?
No.
Was
right
your property used as a planning venue for the crime?
I was trying to write down like the date the Mississippi land was purchased.
It sounds like
Louisiana.
It sounds like
Louisiana.
It sounds like it's ambiguous whether or not you were actually involved in this crime.
Yeah. Well, and as you know, as a school child, you abandon all your rights when you enter through the schoolhouse gates.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. As long as it could be deemed to, substantially interfere with the educational mission of the school, they can pretty
Yeah.
much prevent you from doing anything.
Correct. Except you can wear a black armband.
That doesn't
That's
substantially interfere. The analysis
Yes.
stayed the same.
Yes.
Case
But other
Crocs
than
will be Granville.
I don't know what that means, but I do know that they can. There's no such thing as freedom of speech in school.
There is
Yeah.
freedom of speech in school, but it's
To the
limited.
extent you can only wear you can only wear a black armband.
Black armbands to protest the Vietnam War, not a
Yes.
material interference with the educational mission of the school. At a outside of school sponsored field trip, holding a sign saying "Bong hits for Jesus" is a violation of the educational mission of the school, and the school can properly punish you for doing that and prohibit you from exercising your free speech in that way.
Yeah, this is a bunch of garbage.
Completely different scenarios. One 100% wrong, 100% right on the other side. Just like this. Just like this would be 100% right if they could somehow pull this off. If they could, in fact, make it so that people could be sentenced to 1,000 years in prison and only spend 8 hours in real time doing it. Beepity beep beepity beep beepity. Breaking news. Biotechnology says that soon people will be able to spend 1,000 years in a mind prison in an 8-hour period.
No. That's that was actually on a Black Mirror episode.
It's actually in the real news.
Yeah.
In the real tech news. This could be a thing.
Sounds like torture.
It sounds like what's that from Dragon Ball Z?
I didn't watch that.
You
I was
watched Dragon
late.
Ball Z.
Yeah, but I don't know.
The hyperbolic time chamber.
I'm like,
Hyperbolic time chamber. You could go in this room, and time would pass more slowly there. Yes, more slowly, or faster. Faster? I don't know. One or the other. The one where you would spend more time in there than passes in the real world. I think it's telling that what people took from this when they started talking about it was immediately a prison sentence.
What do they do after 8 hours?
They're just like in a coma for 8 hours.
Yeah, but
wake
if they
up-
serve 1,000 years in 8 hours, then they just throw this person back into society with 1,000 years of memories from.
Yes.
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Oh, because they've suffered their punishment.
well, I didn't read the article. Can they scale it so that like they can only spend 100 years?
No, it's 1,000 years or nothing.
It's just an on-off switch.
Maybe like 40 minutes instead of 8 hours.
I'd imagine they could probably scale it. I just skimmed this thing. But I imagine the same thing could be true. Like, okay, I want to go to school for, I don't know, learn engineering. Well, that's fine. We can in a long morning.
Oh, yeah.
We could actually teach you engineering, and you could become an expert in it. You could be a practicing engineer for a decade.
Is that the end of it?
like Matrix, right? When they upload the thing, it's, I know kung fu.
Yeah, well, exactly correct. But like I said, I think the weird telling thing is that this article's like going straight to, that Black Mirror episode about prisons in your mind for 1,000 years? You could do that. It's like, oh yeah, you could do lots of stuff with this. Why don't we talk about the fun stuff, not the horrifying dystopian thing where you're trapping people in mind prisons? What do you do for 1,000 years in your mind prison?
Rock back and forth on the floor.
Are you in an actual, prison in your mind? Is it like cells and stuff? You have the door closed, and you've got bars? What's the point? I don't understand
It's
any
like
of this.
and you are listening to Pink Floyd The Wall the entire time.
Well, I don't know. And it's like, what's the point of prison? I don't understand.
Oh, don't even get into that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm disconnected right now from what the point of prison is.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, okay, we can make you serve 1,000 years in prison, man. And I'm like, okay. Is that why we put people in prison? Is to just make them so that they have to sit it for a day in a jail cell, but make it feel like a really long time?
Well, it's definitely not for her rehabilitation.
Yeah,
No,
I think that the thing is, it's for warehousing. So you got bad guys that do bad stuff, and
quarantine.
and you quarantine them away from society in prison.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, they're only spending a day in there now, so that's not doing that anymore. You're gonna come out and have to spend another 1,000 years in prison. Imagine how much good criminal stuff you could learn in a 1,000-year prison.
That's what I mean. And then you're just going to throw that person back out on the street after 8 hours.
Not to mention they would be literally insane.
That's what I was thinking.
Also,
This is like the start of some weird comic book villain.
probably doesn't have a cape.
Probably not. Most villains didn't have capes. Name a villain that had a cape.
Darth Vader.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange wasn't a villain. Darth Vader
Dr.
wasn't a
Doom.
comic
Or
book
Doctor
character.
Doom. That's what I meant,
Well,
actually.
Doctor Doom. Okay, Doctor Doom had a cape. Galactus, no cape. Silver Surfer, before he turned good, no cape.
Well, he's an alien, so... I'm sure that Martian Manhunter had a cape.
I believe he did. But he could have anything. He was a shapeshifter. You know what? I'm just happy that this technology hasn't been captured by the communist Chinese yet.
Oh my gosh.
Because they would have put John Cena straight into his 1,000-year mind prison to be properly educated on the facts.
Yeah.
John Cena got in a little trouble in the news because he claimed that Taiwan was a country. That's a big no-no. According to China, Taiwan is not a different country. Taiwan is just part of China. And I came across this young man's son on a fiddle and playing it hot named Qin Wei Huao, who thankfully Twitter designates as a member of China's state-affiliated media. And Qin Wei Hao says we've gotten some... He just jumped into the replies in this Washington Post article, tweet, arguing with people about why it's true that Taiwan is in fact not a separate country. Taiwan is just part of China. And they say Taiwan is a Chinese island. U.S. One China policy means China includes both the Chinese mainland and Taiwan. One China policy. China includes both Taiwan and the Chinese mainland. And I said, I don't think that's true. Like, it's true. It is true. But it's not exactly as this individual may be indicating. And I went ahead and quote tweeted this guy. One China. And what we have here is a map of Taiwan's territorial claims.
Which includes all of Mongolia.
Yeah. This is the One China policy according to Taiwan, and ambiguously could be the One China policy that the U.S. refers to. But all it says is that, yes, Taiwan is part of whatever we say is China. But Taiwan says that everything is Taiwan, and mainland China says that everything is the communist Chinese. Maybe both are right. Maybe both are wrong. All I know is that I thought this was funny.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, but this is the kind of expansionistic, dictatorial people are living in Taipei. They're talking about subsuming all of mainland China and Mongolia and all of these contested territories into their empire. I'm surprised they have... Huh?
Go ahead.
I'm surprised they haven't colored the Korean Peninsula tan, or maybe even these islands over here. What is this? What is this? Japan? wouldn't be the first time someone from mainland China had their sights set on the Japanese islands. Say that.
Yeah, the last time that happened, it was a disaster, though.
Yeah, the divine wind, etc., yada yada yada. It's a new millennia, Adam. It's possible that they could try again.
It is possible. Much more likely, and much more a bigger success rate is the other way around, where the Japanese islands invade all those other things.
Yes, well, I mean, I don't know. There's been talk. So as part of World War II, Japan put into their new constitution that there was a restriction on the amount of money that they could spend on their military. So they could only spend like such percent of whatever on GDP on defense spending. And they created a self-defense force so they didn't have a real army and all this stuff. But there's been scuttlebutt for the last probably 10 years. They've been talking about this of retracting that policy, and actually, because of an expansionistic China, putting some more money into self-defense. And so we could have a resurgent militaristic Japan in front of an expansionist Chinese communist empire. Very spicy things brewing in this
Let's go.
in this century.
Let's go. And you've got a expansionistic Taipei as well, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know how Taiwan fits into this. Imagine this situation, right? Japan allies with Taiwan.
I bet there's what is the NATO version of East Asia?
I don't know. I don't remember.
It's OCD or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. But there's like a alliance of Southeast Asian nations and Pacific Island nations. I feel like those were included in there.
I doubt it.
I don't know. Do we want to go to that one? Yeah, that's one. All right.
But yes, an alliance between Japan, South Korea, Taiwan.
Yeah. It could get buck wild down there. And that's all
Well, even what is it? Vietnam. They don't have good relations with China either. They were invaded.
No, man.
Shortly after.
They're both communists, man. So they're like best friends.
Correct. No, not real. They were invaded, and China couldn't even get a couple miles into Vietnam before their Vietnamese pushed them back into mainland China.
Well, I mean, when you have a totalitarian communist dictatorship, you don't want another totalitarian communist dictatorship coming in and telling you what to do. So it makes complete sense.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that China could not invade them after the Americans spent 17 years in, wore them down, and then they went to war with Cambodia for another few years, won that war, draining their young men, and then China invades with their billion people, and they pushed them back.
They learned how to fight people in the jungle or whatever. I myself was not in Vietnam. Missed that war by a couple decades or whatever. So I wouldn't know. But I do know that our first real black president didn't do enough to speak out against the police killings of African Americans in this country. But it's okay because he has a new excuse. Barack Obama says institutional constraints kept him from commenting on killings of black Americans. I don't know what kind of institutional constraints those could be. And I didn't bother to read the article because it sounded like a bunch of nonsense, whatever. Whatever.
Probably fake anyways.
Probably fake news. Hey, all you naysayers in the chat can go ahead and read the article and then post below why we're wrong about how this is not fake news but is in fact real news. But the reason that I decided to pull this up is because in response to this, someone decided to pull photographs of Obama during his administration. All these institutional constraints are preventing me, Barack Hussein Obama, from being able to find the time to speak out against all the police violence against black Americans. It's these institutional constraints and not my political career that I'm concerned with. Maybe that is the institutional constraints that he was talking about.
Yeah. There you go. Tradition.
He couldn't get elected to a second term if he had started speaking out against police violence. And he cared more about his legacy than he did about black lives. That doesn't sound like something we should be happy about. We should blame the system. It's not Barack's fault. It's the fact that he had to act this way. We forced him to.
Ugh.
It's our fault, Adam.
No, it was not mine. I tried to help him. I tried to help him get away from those institutional constraints.
You need to look in the mirror, Adam, and take responsibility for what you've done to President Barack Obama.
I tried to help him, Zach.
Shame, shame, shame. In other government news on political constraints that don't allow things to get done, the Senate, by a vote of 48 to 49, defeats an amendment to prohibit certain types of human-animal chimeras. 60 votes were needed for passage. So, all you, I don't know, what are the geneticists out there? Open season, baby. Time to create your dog-human hybrids or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, the dog-headed people.
Not illegal.
Cat girls.
Dodge prohibition under this narrow Senate vote.
Cat girls, wolf boys, whatever you want.
Yeah. I don't know. What kind of human animal hybrid would you create?
It automatically makes me think about this centaur and how, like, it's half human, half horse. And this was like a meme thing, but like horses can walk and run around in like 9 hours, and the baby part of it would just be like flopping on top of the horse.
It can't support its neck. Oh, poor infant centaurs. They're just not practical. Okay. All you geneticists out there, when you're making your chimeras, avoid centaurs. We don't think it'll work out very well. But apparently, I don't know. I think that this might have something to do with anti-abortionists, something like this. But from the scuttlebutt I was able to glean without getting too deep into this rabbit hole, some scientist was like injecting different kinds of cells into like embryonic cells of like humans, or human embryonic cells into different embryonic cells of like an animal or something like this, to see if an embryo would grow with these different kinds of cells growing together. And it worked, and people were like, that's unnatural. And it seems kind of unnatural to me.
It does.
But
oh my gosh. How many different sci-fi stories do you hear about where like an entire race of people are ruined because you played with the genetic code?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I don't know about one guy in his lab just like, and then I took some chimpanzee embryo cells and then put them with human embryo cells just to see what would happen, man.
It'd probably be that thing off of the original Jumanji.
Oh, like that boy that, yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if that would work.
Wasn't there like a Soviet mad scientist that was trying to create a army of human apes? human-ape hybrids.
I think you're thinking of that movie, Planet of the Apes.
No. It was like a real dude trying to get.
I don't remember any ape-human hybrid mad Soviet scientist.
Yeah, because he was disappeared from photographs when he, failed.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Well, I just thought this was strange because also in the because okay, the Senate's not willing to endorse a lot prohibiting wait how am I going to do this? Actually, this makes sense. I reversed it. I went on to backtrack this. This makes complete sense in context of some other congressional news that I saw from our favorite Senator Rand Paul. That the Congress apparently just loves scientific boondoggles, and there's no end to the millions that they will spend of taxpayer dollars in researching various things such as insect ranching, $1.3 million. In addition to the insect ranching, which is a study on making insects into animal feed, on top of that, they spent nearly $3 million to study if humans would eat insects as a means to combat climate change. That's yes, you've heard that correctly, $4 million on eating insects that the federal government paid people in our taxpayer dollars. And I said, yeah, all you had to do was ask me. I'd say, I don't want to eat none of them bugs. No one asked me. No one gave me $4 million.
You might as well go to the next one.
Well, what do we got here? Ooh, this is a good one, too. This whole thread is buck wild, by the way, and it just keeps going. The National Institute of Health spent over $800,000 to study whether Japanese quails are more sexually promiscuous on cocaine.
Probably.
You could have lifted 1 million people out of poverty, but instead you've studied why. Why?
It was just their excuse to buy a bunch of coke.
Well, it very well could be. Ooh, yeah. This is by the way my favorite one is next. God. You ever wonder why a lizard waddles when he walks? Well, for $1.5 million taxpayer dollars, the NSF had lizards walk on treadmills while taking x-rays of their joints. What did they discover? That they need more money before they could conclude any answer. Oh, nope. $1.5 million just wasn't enough. We need to further invest in understanding how the lizard moves. I don't know. I feel like you probably could have figured out that your experiment wasn't going to be affected before you blew through the entire $1.5 million grant to study how lizards move. Inconclusive. Ooh, another one. On Ugandan gambling habits. We spent $300,000. Why? I don't know. Because 60% of the Ugandan's economy is on the black market. Instead of asking why people gamble, perhaps they should have studied why excessive government regulations have created a black market. I think that might be a good idea, right? But who's gonna conduct? That's just boring. That doesn't have headline news written on it. They want to find out why Ugandans love to gamble. Let's figure that out. Outrageous.
It's the same. They love the game. They love to gamble because there's this robust black market because of excessive government regulations.
Well, maybe they just like living on the edge and they like gambling. But this got me thinking. All of this like slush money flying around, and Chimera's not illegal. Within the next few years, we'll see some research funds go to creating human-animal hybrids. They'll be like the dungeon guards.
Maybe that's why they're researching the lizards.
See, yeah, that's what it is.
Oh,
it's all.
Well, they are lizard people, so
it's all coming together. Soon, the army will be replaced by human lizard hybrids, chimeras created by NIH grants.
Yeah.
That's the
Smash.
future, America, if we don't do something about it. That's okay. Because the future also holds childhood IPs, beloved IPs being turned into modern day inclusive dramas. And in a world with lizard people soldiers, that at least is a silver lining that I can get behind.
Oh, yeah.
The CW's live-action Powerpuff Girls is set to be reworked and will film a new pilot sometime later this year. Dun, 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 dun.
This is part of our ongoing coverage of the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. Dark and gritty Powerpuff Girls. I was able to find out a little bit about this, and it turns out that what the premise is this. The Powerpuff Girls' beloved TV show that people watched as children was a propaganda piece put together by Professor Utonium to promote the real life Powerpuff Girls in this alternate reality.
Yes.
And so they were at best I can approximate like child stars, how they're basically being exploited and forced to perform, and then they lose their childhood to whatever conniving schemes and pressures that the adults in their life have placed upon them, and now they're trying to cope with their traumatic childhood while trying to be real and grow up, man.
And also, we've got to rework the entire series.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. It's weird, but they did have some excerpts.
So, I wonder how much it costs to make a pilot. Because if they're reworking it and making another pilot, if you read the actual article, the CW executive or whatever said it was campy and some things just don't work.
The show's supposed to be campy.
So if it just doesn't work, let's waste more money and try it again?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. They probably have rights to make the show, like, to use the IP. Like Sony's got Spider-Man or whatever. Mm. So they got to keep making these Spider-Man reboots every so long so they can keep control of the Spider-Man IP.
Well, it's also weird because, like, the pilot episode, that's the thing that greenlights the entire series, the entire season.
Correct.
So it's like, oh, hey, yeah, good, let's keep going. And then it's just like, oh, wait, let's redo it?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's weird. It's weird.
The first pilot was apparently such a train wreck and off of vision from what the CW wanted that they had to create a new one. But they wanted to keep going, as my feel is that they are intent on cashing in on this intellectual property, and so they're going to. But with dialogue like this, how could they go wrong? I don't know. I don't even think I can read some of this stuff, but let's look and see what we can find. All right. Bubbles. Blossom's fine. I saw her on her Insta that she has a boyfriend. I saw on her LinkedIn that she got promoted, and I saw on Facebook that she still talks to Grandpa, despite their political differences. Buttercup. Coming back here is probably triggering for her. Bubbles. Why? Because she's the one who killed Mojo? I mean, MoveOn.org. These are completely relevant references that will not be dated in 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
MoveOn.org is probably already dated. Is that still a thing?
Is LinkedIn still a thing?
That's never been a thing to me.
I thought that was a thing like during like the W. Bush administration.
What? MoveOn.org?
Yeah.
I vaguely remember what that is. I have no. If you were to tell me what it was, I would be like, oh, that's right. But I've forgotten what it is. Yeah.
My general understanding, and I can't remember exactly what the original thing was, but it had like an original specific like political agenda that it was aiming for. But then that was achieved, or it was rendered irrelevant, and then they had to keep on going because they don't just stop doing things because of money and power and whatever. So now they just exist as a progressive policy pack thing. I don't know.
No, I have no clue.
I don't know either. Whatever. There's a bunch of weird stuff in here, but someone pulled the screenplay. Oh.
There's a handful of them that were served takedown notices too. So, good job grabbing this.
Buttercup, I'm not wearing that dress anymore. It's compulsory heterosexuality.
Yeah.
Why is wearing a dress a heterosexual thing?
Don't unpack that, Zach. We don't have time for that.
All right, moving on. Ow. Speaking of the land of China, land of China landed a rover on the land of Mars. I thought it was interesting because Reuters posted this video. I'm going to see if I can't make this big.
Oh, good.
But this is the video that they showed in conjunction with the Chinese Martian lander. My favorite comment probably to this video is, "What PS2 game is that from?" It was a very strange thing because obviously it is a animation, presumably of what the Martian rover would have looked like as it landed on Mars.
Right.
But there was nothing that clearly pointed that out, and so it's like, obviously that's a fake video. Did they even go to Mars?
Look at that next to a comment.
Yes, and this is what really got me. I found this this really true to life artistic rendering of how it actually looked, but it's only in black and white, so bear with me. To all the skeptics out there, this is a higher definition image, black and white for now. Sorry. Clearly they did land on Mars. Look, there's a black and white image of the rover itself.
Yes, I didn't see anything pointing that out. The other thing too would have been like, okay, so they landed, so they landed a camera first.
Yeah. So they could film it.
Yeah.
It could be like those like YouTubers that like go in the woods by themselves, or
maybe it has a selfie stick attached to one of its arms.
Oh, there you go. A very long selfie stick. It was like an old show called Survivor Man. Do you remember that? I can't remember the guy's name.
Are you talking about Bear Grylls?
No, it wasn't the Bear Grylls one. It was the other guy.
It was the guy who like had to stop because of the stuff that was doing to his body.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But I know that he would go into the wilderness by his lonesome. Bear Grylls had a team with him. But you'd have to do things like you'd have to set up your camera so that it could watch you, and then you would hike by. And then you have to stop and go back and pick up your camera. And then later you would edit the footage together. So I believe this is what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chinese state media, because I know you're watching. I just know it. But the Chinese Martian lander landed on Mars, placed the camera, and then relaunched itself into the atmosphere of Mars, and then landed while on film. And then they could edit it together later.
All fake. They didn't even do it.
Well, I mean, that real could be too.
That's
Who?
why are they at the same time being like, oh my gosh, look at what China did. They landed the Mars rover. Oh, also look at they've got fusion reaction stable. Why are they saying these things? And then at the same time being like, oh my goodness, the coronavirus actually was leaked from the virology center in Wuhan, and it came from bats. Doesn't make sense, Zach. It doesn't make sense.
Man.
And it's driving me bonkers. It's driving me nuts.
Why would the Chinese lie to us? What do they have to gain? Nothing. They don't have anything to gain from lying. To the extent that you think they are, I think it just betrays some of your deep-seated prejudice against Asians.
It's we have no record or evidence that the coronavirus subtype whatever is originated from Wuhan has been transferred to humans. Absolutely zero evidence.
Yeah, at the beginning of the pandemic, the Chinese were saying that it wasn't even capable of being passed person to person. It might not even be. It's not even capable of being transmitted. It's just a thing, and then it's like, oh wait, now everybody in the world got it. Oh, were you checking out chat?
Yes.
Was there any exciting comments?
Your Uncle John is commenting. And Fred Melee.
Ooh, Fred's in the chat tonight. Good evening, gentlemen.
Southeast Asian Treaty Organization.
That sounds right.
Yes. Thank you.
And 70% of microchips are made in Taiwan.
Nice.
Without a source cited, so I mean that's hearsay.
Well, I mean, either way, that's not a good thing.
It's probably that number's probably more accurate than the Chinese state media. Anyways.
When the communist
fake
Chinese nuke
news.
the island or whatever, we're going to find a new place to get our microprocessors.
Yeah, haven't we learned over the past year to not consolidate for what's it called, supply line issues?
Yeah, supply chain. We don't want to have that all in one place.
Oh gosh, never learn. More things change.
Not yet.
Let's do the same. There's nothing new under the sun, etc., etc.
Hey, it might cost us 3% on our bottom line if we diversify our supply chain. We got some money to make, buddy. Anything else?
Not really.
No. Are you going to visit?
I don't know. No, I will not be. No, I will not be going to Morrill-Town.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. All right. You may have remembered from last week that the Middle East was having a little kerfuffle, a conflagration, if you will, a small disagreement between neighborly nations. And you may remember from time to time that some people purport that these conflicts arise in these places, and like historically, you hear about African nations and I guess Middle Eastern nations sometimes, that the reason that these conflicts exist is because of arbitrarily drawn borders and countries that are created without an eye to the underlying cultural and demographic territorial boundaries that existed there at the time. So they say that the reason that there's so much fighting in Iraq is because the northern Kurdistan region is culturally and ethnically diverse from the rest of Iraq, and so they have inherent conflict, and they shouldn't be in the same country together to begin with. These kinds of things.
Oh. Careful with that line of reasoning, Zachary.
This is the general assertion that is made, all right? And you'll have things like fun task. What do you think the borders of the Middle East should be? Don't be afraid to group people with no regard for history and ethnicity. It worked for the British and French. Invent new countries and create interesting and fresh conflicts. So they're saying that these European enforced countries were the reason that there's so much conflict in the Middle East. And I saw an interesting take on this, and I just wanted to share it with everyone. Furthering our
Return.
What is that? Restitutor Orbis? Restorer of the world? It's fine. This is the solution. Hold on. Let me make this big. Yes, that's the Roman Eagle. SPQR. Restore the Roman Empire and put it all under Roman rule, and all the conflict will be fine. I don't know. I thought it was funny, but not exactly true, because the Romans had to put down several revolts in the region. I was doing some reading because of another meme thread on Rome on Aurelian, who was apparently a 2nd century Roman emperor who had to reunite the empire when there was two factions that split off and rebelled, and the empire was divided into 3 pieces, plus barbarian invaders from the Germanic territories. What do you think about Rome restored? Should we bring it back?
I don't think it worked the first time. I don't know why you would try something again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the United States. It's clearly not working the first time.
Worked like 2,100 years.
It worked a little while.
1451.
Well, I don't know. I think it might be worth a shot. Oh. And finally, folks, as usual, we will wrap out our evening with our ice cold fact of the week. Coming to you straight from Ice-T's Twitter feed. Ice-T, my entire life, I've always made it a point to pay back every single cent or favor that anyone has ever loaned or done for me. I live by pay as you go, so you never owe. Unfortunately, most people don't follow that rule. Then they consider why their friends in life got so cold. Ice cold. Ice cold facts. Coming to you straight from the man, Ice-T himself. Catch the latest season of SVU. Yes, that show still runs.
Yeah, dude.
All right, folks. So that's our show for this evening. I'd like to extend my thanks to special guest Jason Clark for appearing on the show tonight.
No problem.
You can catch him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is... What's your Twitter handle? You don't know. Totally. He doesn't even know. We'll post it. We'll post it in the description.
I mean, Zoe Deschanel follows me.
That's not real.
Yeah, it is.
No way. Zoe Deschanel follows you on Twitter?
Oh, at Jason Clark 79.
At Jason Clark 79 on Twitter. Adam and I's handles are located immediately below our names, as well as in the middle here for the Triggered Media account. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel or comment below and like the video. Share it with all your friends. Really get this thing out there, and maybe we can change the world.
Probably not going to be a huge hit in China.
Probably not. Hashtag banned in China.
West Taiwan.
Actually, all of YouTube is blocked in China, so they can't really get us. They'll have to listen to our Spotify audio-only version, which you too can listen to. All you have to do is go to Spotify and search Triggered, and there it is. All 30 episodes, 31 when I upload this one, will be available there as well. Or other podcast locations. You can get links to all of those on our Anchor page. All right, Adam, did you have anything you'd like to add here at the end of the show?
Oh, no. Nothing. I got nothing. It's fun.
All right, folks, that's our show for tonight. And remember, keep your nose clean so you don't end up in a 1,000-year mind prison. Good night.